Out that I am celebrating 8 years of not drinking alcohol. But I still smoke a shit ton of fucking weed, so. Because I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous, not Narcotics Anonymous. Did you know they hate each other? Like Norteños Sureños, they fucking scrap when they fucking see each other. It's great. And because I'll go to these events and I'll be like, hey, I still smoke weed. And they're like, you're not clean, Jimmy. You still smoke weed. You're not clean, Jimmy. You still smoke weed. You're not clean, Jimmy. You still smoke weed. And I'm just like, you know what, bro? You're very judgmental for somebody that used to suck dick for crank. And I met a lady at one of these events, and she was like, you don't understand addiction, Jimmy. You don't understand alcoholism. A person that's an addict has a big, fat, emotional hole inside of them that they spend years trying to fill up with drugs and booze until they realize that they're going to kill themselves unless they fix themselves. Then she looked me dead in the eye and said, my new addiction is dick. And I was like, what an awesome way to fill up that hole. I quit drinking 8 years ago. I got in an really bad car wreck 7 years ago. I fell asleep driving home from a show. So please, everybody, when you get home, please get home safe tonight. I fell asleep driving. I hit a wall. I pulled the wheel too hard and I drove sideways, jumped up an overpass, rolled it back down the other side. And while this was happening, Van Halen's Jump was playing on the radio. And I was pissed. I was like, I do not want to die while Van Halen is playing. Not even Panama, you know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna wreck a car, Panama's the fucking song, not Jump. So the car, my whole life, I've had this dream I'm dying in a car wreck, and I'm always like, this is it, and I wake up, but like, car's barreling towards a tree, and I'm like, oh God, this is it, and I like didn't wake up, and I was like, God, this is really it, right? So I put my foot up on the dash like this, and I pulled the wheel super hard, and my arm broke, and the bone shot out of my arm. And I pulled it so hard, the car fishtailed, and the back end of the car hit the tree, and I lived to tell the tale. And afterwards, a guy had witnessed the accident, and he pulled over on the side of the road, and he was like, hey man, sit on the tailgate of my truck and wait for the ambulance, help's on the way. So I sat on the tailgate of his truck, and for a couple of seconds, he was like, hey man, do not look at your arm right now. And I looked down at my arm, and it was all twisted and mangled like this, and the bone was sticking out. And I have no idea why I did this, but I just grabbed my hand and twisted everything back into place. And it hurt so bad I started throwing up all over the side of the road. And he was like, oh my God, I can't believe you just did that. And he threw up all over the place. And then that's when Highway Patrol showed up. They thought that he was a drunk driver. And they started giving him the roadside sobriety test. Which was awesome because it gave me a chance to hide all my weed. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but I have a titanium rod in there. I don't even have a radius bone anymore. And I had to have surgery, and as they're wheeling me in, the anesthesiologist said, hey, Jimmy, they told us that you're a comedian. Can you tell us a joke right now? And I was like, well, doc, to be honest with you guys, you asking me to tell you a joke right now is a lot like me asking you to do the surgery for free. And he looked at my chart, and he said, you're on Medi-Cal. Tell us a fucking joke. So, before I get here, guys, can I tell you a horrible ass fucking spring break joke? Like, I went to spring break with some friends to Ensenada, Mexico, and we decided we weren't going to do it the fucking tourist way. We went to this little local place called Rosaritos. And in Rosaritos, they had a special. It was like $1 for a taco, a shot of Corona, and or a shot of tequila, and a Coronita. And we sat there for about 4 or 5 hours, and every so often, the same lady that was making the food, making the drinks, would get up on a stage and dance with a pole and get naked, and we would tip her money. And then she would go in the back and come back fully dressed and go back to making tacos and drinks. So I have a friend that's blind, and he had been tipping her $20 all night. And he came up to us and he was like, hey dude, she offered to take me in the back and bang me. Should I? And we were like, dude, it's vacation. Do you know, like live your life. So he went in the back and he was like, came back a while later and he was like, I think she really liked me because halfway through she took the condom off. and let me put it in her butt. And we were like, wow, that's how you get STDs in Mexico right there. I think that's what it says in health class, don't put it in a Mexican hooker's butt. So we finished partying, we went back to the hotel room, and the next morning he was like, oh my God, guys, it burns so bad. Burned so bad. And it got so bad that he had to go to a store and buy milk so that he could put his dick in a glass of milk. And if you're ever in this position, chocolate milk works best, I guess. So he was like, take me to the emergency room. You gotta go with me. I don't speak Spanish. Translate for me. So we're in the doctor's office, and I say to the doctor, I'm like, mi amigo, coger una prostituta y tiene fuego en la pipi. And the doctor took his foreskin and rolled it down. And he had a big magnifying glass thing with a light on it, and he took it and he looked into my friend's, and he squeezed my friend's dick hole like one of those old lady coin purses, you know? So he took my friend's dick hole and squeezed it like that, and he looked inside and he went, and he pulled out a pair of tweezers, he stuck them about that far into my friend's dick hole, pulled out a jalapeno seed. And he explained that apparently, when my friend put it in the hooker's butt, she had an undigested seed in there, and somehow it got lodged in his dick hole. And that's what was causing the burning sensation. And the doctor's like, don't worry about it, it happens all the time. By the way, tell Rosarito I said hi. Thanks a lot, everybody. My name's Jimmy. Have a good night.